Hi, for this video we'll be showing you how to recreate an old run or a saved run. So, to keep it understandable, we have made a pipeline that assembles an ice cream dessert, and it consists of these 4 solo experiments. So, first of all we have the blender, and this is where we make the flavor profile. And this is then used to make ice cream in the churner. Then we have an experiment that creates some topping. This is the chopping machine. And finally we have the assembly, which assembles the ice cream dessert. So once we have created all the runs that are necessary, we get a final saved run here. And let's say it's been some time and I can't really remember which inputs or outputs was involved in this run. So I'm gonna right click on it and say recreate with highlights. Traceback will then highlight all the inputs and outputs and other files that were involved in this run. So I can see which instructions I used up here, I can see which bowl I used or which plate I used, and I can see what the output was. And because it's using dependent inputs from some of the other experiments, for example the topping, I can see which run was chosen, which output was chosen, and which inputs in this experiment was used to create that output, and so on. So we have now highlighted the entire pipeline from the beginning, creating the ice cream, till we finally had the ice cream dessert. But I want to make an adjustment because I wasn't quite satisfied with the result that I got over here. So instead of recreating with highlights, I'm gonna recreate with selection. Now it has selected all the files that was used. And let's say I want to change the topping. So I only want to change a single parameter, being which dry ingredient we used. So instead of almonds, I want to use dark chocolate. This of course changes which output it was. So let's say I ran the experiment and I got this output. I now have to save this new experiment. I'll call it chocolate topping. Now it is saved and archived, and I can find it here. Now for the final solo experiment, I also want to include this adjustment. So of course I'm choosing the same, all the other parameters are the same, but in the topping I choose this new one that we just created. And of course the output also changed. And now I can save this new run. So now we have 2 separate saved runs, the old one and the new one. So if I recreate this one, I can see this one used the dark chocolate, while the old one used the almond powder. Now, there are some other things that I can also see. For example, when I use the dark chocolate, I can see which file structure it had. So not only can I see which folder I chose, but also what was the contents of this folder. I can also check the details under the run I created, when it was created. And I can open it for more details to see which dependent and independent inputs was chosen. For example, the file, I chose the bowl. And for the topping, I chose the almond, and so on. When you save a run, it also creates these snapshots on the bucket. Right now you can download these in case you lost the files and you need to recreate it with the files. You can download the bucket. The intent is that you can also in the future download all the necessary files at once to save you some time, and also directly download to an SSH computer or a high performance cluster so you can run it on that computer. But it's not something that we currently support, and it's meant for future updates. And that is how you recreate old runs.